Have you wondered why some conversations can feel like the best thing that happened to you that day, and some other conversations feel the opposite, almost like it was the worst thing that happened to you um, during the day, and it can also feel almost like it takes all your energy. You can feel like it ruined your day. Welcome back to another video. My name is Melisa, and in today's video, we are going to explore how come a simple conversation and interaction with someone can absolutely shift or move the energy we have in a positive or negative way. We are going to explore how creating awareness, creating a better relationship with ourselves, and practicing being present is going to determine the quality of interactions we can have with others. How do we create awareness? I feel like it's 2024. At this point, most people are aware that there are many modalities like meditation, exercising, journaling. I'm a fan of believing that it's always going to be very different for everyone. I always like to recommend everyone to explore, try different things for a little bit until you find what feels good for you. I think for many years we linked all these practices of being present and creating awareness and learning about ourselves with meditation. And I think for a lot of people, meditation was something that we did, in the mountains, away from people. But in 2024, I keep saying also that the pandemic helped a little bit with this process of um, getting to know the many different ways we can access to the same place, which is inside of us, understanding our emotions, understanding our feelings. So, in my own process, in my own journey of discovering, I think I have shared also in some videos. I'm coming from a family of very spiritual people. My dad, he's a Zen monk in Colombia. I haven't talked much about my dad's work, but I'm happy to link also in this video the information of his Zen Center in Colombia. It's a very beautiful, fascinating place. So I was exposed to this modality, this very specific way of meditation, and um, this specific tradition of meditation. But later in my life, I think when I was in my early 20s, I started practicing yoga. To be 100% honest, when I started practicing yoga, it was just, I think for me, I was just trying to find a new workout. And the studios I started going, it was the studios were very focused on just the workout and having a great time. So my relationship with spirituality, um, I would say it didn't start from the most traditional place. I'm a creative, I'm a graphic designer. I went to an art school in Colombia. I love, house music and things that are, I would say, a little far away from the very spiritual, traditional ways of connecting with ourselves and connecting with the bigger intelligence that created us. So I'm sharing all this information just for you to understand. If you're new to all these kind of practices, you don't have to have a Zen monk that you don't have to go to anywhere to start finding the way that you can connect with yourself, with the way you want to call that thing inside of you that always tells you your desires, the things that you want, the things that you should do, the same thing that tells us when we are hungry, when we need to eat, when we need to sleep, when we need to um, do the very basic things of being a human. Yoga, as I said, it became my main practice, connecting with my body, understanding the places I was creating tension in my body, and how I was feeling after exercising, releasing that tension. I think that was the way I started understanding. Oh, there are things inside my body that do shift if I do certain things. In yoga, the last pose you do after a yoga flow is shavasana, and I think understanding what happens during those few minutes of shavasana. If you're not familiar with yoga, you do during a class during 60 minutes usually a bunch of poses. You're moving through that period of time, and at the end of the class, you always finish with this pose where you're laying down, you're not moving your body. So it's a moment where your body is absorbing, and everyone might interpret it a little different, but also you can say you're integrating everything that happened through that 60 minutes to your body. So for me, I think that's the moment I started creating awareness. Like, okay, when I got into the studio, I was feeling this way, and now I'm feeling this other way. I started becoming familiar with the sensations, like the negative sensations before I came into the studio, and the really positive sensations I was experiencing after the class. Another very powerful way for me to create awareness about who I am, it's been journaling. It's the most wonderful. It's very intimate. Of course, you can share what you write down on your journal. Yes, but for the most part, it's something that you keep for yourself. So it's a very um, unique way. The way we write down our own ideas, I think, usually is not the same way we express with others. We tell secrets in our journals, things that, yeah, we just don't share with anyone else. So I think when I started journaling, I was doing it for other reasons. It was after years of doing it that I realized, like, this is the way I became best friends with myself. Like, I got to know myself. I got to, during the process, I want to say, like, there were times that I was like, I don't like what I'm writing down. And by having that feeling, I was like, why am I having these ideas? Like, it's been, let's say, a month that I keep saying that I'm complaining about these things. So without even realizing that was what happened to me, I was like, okay, I really want to enjoy what I'm writing. I want this moment that is so special for me during the day to really, enjoy it. And also, I want to feel like I want to come back to read what I write down, because I was feeling like it's so negative and it's so like, there's nothing wrong about negative, but I wasn't liking it, right? So in that process of, okay, what I'm putting on the paper, the person I am when I'm sitting down to write down, I just don't like that. I don't even know how to explain it, but that gave me the motivation of creating a better relationship with that moment. And that moment, of course, turned into, just by the exercise of shifting the way I was writing down what was happening to me, I started shifting my perspectives. And yeah, I think it's small things, like also, as I mentioned, I'm a graphic designer, an artist, and paying attention to the way I I'm writing down, and the pencils I'm using, the colors I'm using. You can play with so many things in this simple practice that will start becoming, yeah, a very special moment for you. And this is the way how we start, how people say sometimes, like, oh, you should date yourself before you start dating someone, or things like that. This is a way of dating yourself. You create this very um, sacred moment on during your day to connect with you, with yourself. And yeah, it's just like the same way how we do like self-care, or we make a delicious dinner for ourselves, or we go to a special restaurant and we have a delicious meal. It has the same energy of creating something very, very special and meaningful for yourself. It's a very natural thing to do, a to-do list, like to just take notes. Like I feel like most humans do it. Of course, you can do it mentally, but everyone will feel the benefit of. We all feel it. It's a very human, natural thing to do. Um, and some people might feel like, okay, I want help, I want support from others. That's wonderful. I have done it. I have times in my life where I work with coaches as well. Um, there are times for that, but if you're like, no, I think I can do it by myself, or even if you just would like to start doing it by yourself, and maybe eventually you get to a place where you are like, I might want guidance in this part of who I am, understanding better this part of who I am. Those are the perfect moments to work with other people. But I would say if you're new to this, to start creating awareness about yourself, journaling is going to be a great way. Another way I have seen people, I have done it too, not that often, but sometimes when I don't have a notebook with me, that's a wonderful way to still take notes of what you're feeling and what you're thinking. And it's great in voice notes. I use WhatsApp, and I have a conversation with myself. And sometimes I have this idea that I don't have a pen in a notebook. So I'm just like, okay, let's just record this. And yeah, it's super powerful. Sometimes it's just really nice to hear your voice and the tone, the emotion you have, when you're speaking. Creating a better relationship with yourself. I think I talked a little bit about this on the part of creating awareness. Um, I would say with the step of creating awareness and journaling or recording your voice notes, um, it is a lot of just absorbing what is there, who you are, right? It's when we first meet someone, like, okay, this person is blonde. I don't know, he has a mustache. He wears dresses. He wear, leather jacket. We started taking note of those things. And this second part of creating a better relationship is, okay, how do they feel about this? So I was sharing on the previous part of creating awareness that I started to feel like I don't like the perspective I'm taking about this situation, right? I started feeling like I know I know inside of me there's a better way to look at this. There's a different way of feeling about this. So that's why what we want to do in this second step, I wouldn't push it too much. In the first one, I think it's good to just get in the practice. Of course, if you do it already, you can mix all of the three that I'm going to explain. Um, but if you're new to this, I feel like give yourself a little time to just journal. Okay, like I'm thinking all these kind of things. Don't judge it, right? And then little by little, that's when you start creating a better relationship with what you're thinking and what you're feeling, which is creating a better relationship with yourself. Like, okay, something very stressful happened today. How do they want to feel about this? And a good exercise, a good perspective that I can share with you of how to approach this, it's like you can almost remove yourself from the situation. You can pretend that whatever happened, whatever you're feeling and thinking, is happening to someone else that you love deeply. So what would you say to this person? What would you recommend to this person that is experiencing that very stressful thing, or a dramatic situation, or even the good things? And it's just beautiful, to be honest, because of course, if you do it for a couple of days, it won't mean anything. But when you start doing that for a long period of time, like I have done it almost every single day of my life for 4 years now, even a little longer, I think. I mean, as I said, a graphic designer, and uh, I'm a creative, so I feel like most creatives were very used to writing down our ideas, I want to say. So since I was at school, yeah, using the pen, the pencil on a paper notebook, it's just something that it feels really good. For this step, also, it's really good to go out and get inspired. You can get inspired these days from anywhere. We have social media, so something that I love sharing with people that are new to starting creating awareness about themselves and creating a better version of themselves is to I have my public Instagram account, and I created exactly 4 years ago during the pandemic. I created a private account where no one follows me, and I selected, I don't think I have more than 100 accounts. 100 accounts that inspire me. So I love spirituality and I love all about self development. So, but I also love creativity. So I follow some artists, some designers, um, people into wellness, all kind of things, like cooking and things that make me feel good. Is a really amazing thing to do, to be honest. If you are also thinking that you're spending a lot of time on social media and you're just like overwhelmed with those social media, it shifts your experience on social media. When you just go to this account where you are learning and you're sharing yourself, it feels like quality time. It doesn't feel like you're just like numbing yourself, scrolling. For the third part of being present, I think we all have experienced these states since we were little in different ways. So again, I would recommend for you to explore different things. It doesn't have to be, as I said earlier, sitting down to meditate. Meditation, it's a wonderful way to get into that mind state and to create that practice, but I know that it's not the way that works for everyone. It can be very uncomfortable and frustrating for some people. Some people that are very active, I don't know, everyone is different. I would say for some people exercising works very well. And the thing about being present is that it's the same thing as that we do as when we are exercising. It's something that you practice and you get better and better at it. And what we are exercising is our mind, is the ability to just be there, be present. And there are times in our lives where our mind is just like going into so many, it's very activated, going into many different stories, and it wants to go in the future and predict what's going to happen, and it wants to go in the past and remember all the memories. And yeah, the practice is just that, trying to be here with what it is. And little by little you start creating this ability of identifying, if you combine, now we can start combining all of them. If you have been journaling and getting familiar with your emotions, now when you're practicing being present, you're like, okay, there's an emotion, there's this story about what happened, and you start becoming very good at just observing, being there, being present. And you don't get involved, because in the moment we get involved, we start going either in the future or in the past, so we are not present anymore. Now we want to combine these three, and I want to explain how this can create a wonderful interaction with people, or how this can be, if we don't have these three things in place, how it can make us feel really strange, drained, and yeah, how it makes us that we are not connected with others, that we don't connect with others when we are interacting with them. I would like to explain this part by sharing this experience. I spent some time with a friend of my dad. It's one of those things that I'm in my mid-30s, and I feel like maybe it happens for people when they were younger, but it's just happening for me that I just appreciate humans and people for what they are. I don't care anymore about their age, their anything. So I guess when I was in my 20s, I wouldn't think that I would enjoy having lunch with people that are in their 60s, 70s. And it was one of those sweet moments that I'm like, I wouldn't change this lunch with these two people that are way older than me for anything else. Like, it was the most enjoyable and most wonderful thing. It was very, very sweet. Of course, there is this piece of, there are people that have a little more experience in some things in life that they get to share with us, and we always get very inspired. But the wonderful thing about this time that I spent with them, that I was like, oh my god, I forgot. It's not that often. I want to say it's not like I have 100 friends that practice these 3 things that I'm sharing with you today. So we were in the middle of the lunch, and I was sharing my story, and I like the same way I am here at the moment. I like to be present when I'm sharing, especially things that are very meaningful for me, stories that involve my emotions and um, deeper deeper ideas. So what I noticed is that what the good feeling that I had, and I was like, this is it. This is what makes interaction so wonderful. Is that I was sharing my stories, and I looked to them, and both of them were looking at my eyes, and I could tell how present they were. So something that happens when people are present is that because they are not in the future, they are not in the past, and they are very aware of their own emotions, their own patterns, their own thinking patterns, and they have a beautiful relationship with themselves. They are really listening, and it's just like the value you get from that. It is exactly the excitement I'm sharing with you today. That's what I got yesterday. I was like, wow, because they are not, you are speaking, and they're really listening. They're not judging anything that you are saying. They're really listening in the moment. They are there present with you, with your experience. So what often happens with people is that you are like, oh my god, I'm gonna say something a little dramatic, but I think I'm going to break up with my partner, and you haven't even tell them why, and they already are having this reaction, a breakup. They are having all these triggers, they are connecting immediately with what breaking up represents for them, than what you are experiencing at that moment. It's something that happens. It happens to me as well. I'm not okay, I'm not like an evolved human that have learned completely these things. I still practice. It's one of those fascinating things that I had this launch. Again, these people are in their 60s, almost 70s. They have been practicing these things probably a little longer than me. And I got back to spend some time with one of my girlfriends, and I noticed that whenever she was telling me her stories about what she experienced during the day, I could tell, how I wanted to go to that place of the assumptions I have about whatever she was experiencing. But then, because I had this previous experience during the day, I was like, I really want to listen. I really want to be there for her. It creates a way deeper relationship with others. I could tell when I finished this conversation with my friend, she was with this huge smile. She felt heard, understood. And the other wonderful thing that happens is that when we are there present, I don't know if maybe you have experienced this, that some people are going through a difficult situation, and you're like, you want to be there for them, and you don't even know what to say. And the reason why we don't know what to say a lot of the time is because we are consumed by all the assumptions. We went through the future to what might happen to them, to predict all the scenarios that might happen to them, and we went to the past, to our own experiences, and then when we want to say something, we're like blank blank. We don't have nothing to share with them. So when we practice being present, that's the wonderful power that happens, is that because we're so present and we are not busy figuring other things out, we get ideas. That's when we get inspiration. And a lot of times what also happens is that in those ideas and those inspirations we get from that place of being present, we can get the ideas and inspiration that the other people, that might be exactly the thing that the other person needs to hear at that moment. It's those things that there's not a recipe, and it's not like it might happen all the time. It's like I have experienced it that I'm like, I don't know you that well, or you know, you're like, I don't know where you got this from, like, but that's exactly what I needed to hear, what my heart needed, I needed at this moment. So those are some of the wonderful benefits we can get from practicing these three parts that I explained in this video: creating awareness about who we are, creating a better relationship with ourselves, and practicing being present. So I hope you also can see that it doesn't only create benefits for ourselves, it creates benefits for all the people that are around us. And yes, I would say it can be, you know, for some people, like, it's not like we're gonna have 100 people that are practicing the same, and it can be a little, you know, challenging to find people to have this kind of interaction. But the one thing I want you to know from this video is that the more we practice it with ourselves, the more we share this way of being with others, we inspire others to be like that. And maybe you can suggest, you know, the more you integrate this practice, the more you are this kind of person that I'm showing you today in this video. People feel it, people get attracted to that, they want to talk with you. And then when you are in those places of noticing how people are enjoying being around you, you can start saying like, you know, I practice these things, I think they have a lot of value, I can share, you know, how I do it with you. And this is how we can not only create but cultivate wonderful relationships with ourselves and with others. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Peace and love.